Good morning and welcome to It's Within Your Reach, another total mind fitness well-being workout. Mindful moments and actions. There's a lot of buzz around mindfulness. There's a lot of misunderstanding around mindfulness. But what are mindful moments and actions? Usually we think about mindfulness as, zenning out, clearing the mind, sitting on top of a mountain, maybe for 3 or 4 or 5 years, or, all your life, Buddhist monks. Well, if that's the case, how can we have mindful moments and actions? What's all that about? That's what we're talking about today. We are talking, first of all, about the trauma to T.R.I.U.M.P system, right? We're going through each of the modules and discussing them, learning the skills associated with them. So we're up to now M in the T.R.I.U.M.P system, which is mindful moments and actions. And that is what we're going to be talking about. But before we get in there, please share this, tag this. There's a lot of value in this today. And we're going to be talking about it today, tomorrow, and Thursday, the mindful moments and actions and how we can bring this into our life in order to increase the quality of our life. We're trying to build a higher quality of life. The whole idea of the T.R.I.U.M.P system is that a higher quality life is within your reach, no matter where you're starting off from, right? I'm meeting you where you are. This is not a generic system. It has a generic outline, but if you take the skills, if you take it and build it into your own plan, you can personalize this system for you. And I'm here to help. And the whole idea is that the peer-to-peer system, when we get to the P, is about us helping each other, building community, making a personalized plan of well-being. Okay, but what we're talking about, first of all, is understanding what this mindful moments and actions are. And we want to understand how we can bring this skill in order to improve the quality of our life. So we're going to be talking this week about a number of aspects. So we're going to be talking about what is mindful selfing. Okay, mindful selfing. You might never have heard of that. So we're going to be actually doing some of that today, mindful selfing. And then there's mindful breathing, which is pretty famous. So you might have heard of that before. You might have even practiced that before. But that doesn't matter because we might be doing it a little bit differently than you've experienced up until just now. Mindful eating. How about having your food look better, taste better, digest better, and having a whole experience around what we put in our mouths, what we eat. So we're going to be discussing that tomorrow. Mindful sensing. Wow, that's using our senses. Can you imagine that the smells are even more sharper? What we see is sharper, the colors are sharper, the sounds are sharper, what we feel is sharper, but sharper in that higher quality. It's like, going from the old TV screen up to getting a 4K or a 5K screen when things are really popping. Well, that's what we can bring into our senses in our life if we practice mindful sensing. And then there's mindful moving. Wow. I mean, we're not sitting on top of mountains here. We're actually moving and bringing that experience of movement, even just walking. Not just even just walking as a brilliant movement. If we bring mindfulness into that movement of walking, we can really really push things to a new level with regard to bringing our life into a higher quality mode. And then we'll be talking on Thursday also about mindful moments, tiny little moments throughout the waking day where we can just stop for that second, just be conscious for that fraction of a second of what is happening in our life. And our life will become fuller. Our life will become much more of quality. Our life will become more with a texture that we can feel and we can touch and we can experience in quite amazing ways. And it's all with using our attention. So basically what we're talking about is bringing our attention, having flexible attention in the present moment, what's happening right now, with a flexible attention of paying attention to a particular thing and let our attention wander, bringing it back to a particular aspect and letting it wander. That movement of flexibility. It's not about sitting, making throat noises and, for half an hour, none of that. That's not what we're talking about here. We are talking about flexible attention, bringing our attention without judgment, without saying, oh, what I'm paying attention to is good or bad. It just is. It's just neutral. Okay? We're not trying to judge things. If we have an attention of something that's going on in our body and we're feeling a sensation. For this particular exercise, we're not trying to say, oh, is that a pain? Is that this? Maybe it's because of this, maybe because of, happened yesterday, or maybe because I ate something. We're not trying to judge what these experiences are. What we're learning to do with flexible attention is to allow space to experience things in our life that pass through us. Okay, now that's not easy to do because we are very used to in our life, the way that we live, in not even paying attention to most of the stuff that actually happens to us, right? We just kind of live it. We just kind of get through it. We just rush. We're busy. We live in a world of busyness. And in the world of busyness and distraction, then we tend to have fraction of seconds paying attention to anything. And we might be really focused on something. So we're so focused on work or whatever task we have to do for the day, and we're so focused on it that we do not pay attention to what's going on inside us. So we don't pay attention to our thoughts, we don't pay attention to our feelings, our emotions, our body sensations. And that's okay on a temporary basis. But if we never pay attention to these things until they're really painful, then that sometimes can be a little bit later than maybe we could catch it. And so when it's late and becomes painful, why wait until things become painful and we start to suffer? Let's learn how to pay attention to ourselves and the experiences that we have in order to create for ourselves a higher quality life, in order to reduce needless suffering, needless pain that we don't need, and live our lives with allowing space for experiences to happen to us. Now, obviously, it's easier to say than done because we've been practicing, no matter how long we've been on this planet, every day we've been practicing a certain pattern of behavior. And if that certain pattern of behavior is not in our best interests, but we still practice and practice and practice it every day when we get up, we practice rushing and rushing and rushing. We practice focusing on one thing and not paying attention to anything else in our life, whatever it is, right? It becomes automatic behavior. And if that automatic behavior is not the healthiest behavior for us, or maybe it was once and it's now out of date and we haven't updated that pattern of behavior, And so we might be doing something that was relevant last week or last year or last decade or whatever, but it's now not relevant in the life that you're living now or the life that you would like to live now. Then unless you do something about that behavior and update that pattern, you're going to just be doing the same thing and the same thing again and again and again and getting the same results, right? So if you're looking to change the results in your life, if you're looking to change the quality of your life, if you're looking to change the way that you live your life so that it will be beneficial to yourself and others around you, then first of all, you're in the right place, right? If you're looking just to continue what you've been doing up until now and getting what you've got up until now, well, then you might just enjoy listening to me, but this is not going to help you much. What this program is all about is helping you shift yourself into a healthier person, a person who's having a higher quality life, a person who is more aware of themselves so that they can, first of all, make any changes that are necessary, but changes for their benefit, adaptive changes, and maybe start doing things that they've never done before, or stopping doing things that they're doing too much of. If you've got any comments to make on that, you can put them in the comments. Is there something you're doing now that you would like to stop doing? Stick it in the comments. Is there something that you're not doing now that you'd like to start doing? Is this something that's really bothering you in your life and you would like to be able to function better even though that thing is still bothering you? Whatever it is, put it in the comments and let's see if we can get a little conversation going. So today we're going to be talking about mindful selfing. What's mindful selfing? Well, it's about being able to observe ourselves and detach yourself a little bit from some of the experiences that are happening to us. So in order to do that, we can do a little exercise. And one of them is, first of all, focus your attention to the room you're sitting in now. So that's what I do. So I'm sitting here and I'm focusing my attention on where I am sitting. And I just look around, first of all. And I just understand where I'm located. I'm looking up all the directions, feeling my body. I'm basically just connecting, first of all, to my location and where I am in the space that I am. So whatever it is, if I'm inside or outside, just locate where you are and how you are located in relation to the space that you're sitting in, or standing in, or wherever. And then what we want to do is to use our imagination, that beautiful skill that we have, and observe ourselves as if we were looking from the outside in. So just imagine if we were outside our body, looking at ourselves in the position that we're in right now. What would that look like? Just imagine. It doesn't have to be exact, okay? We just want to understand what it's like to look at ourselves as others would see us if we were just in this position. You just observe what your face might look like, what your body, upper body looks like. If you're in a sitting position, just observe yourself sitting in the chair. If you're standing, just observe yourself standing. Sometimes you might have a clear picture, sometimes you won't have a clear picture. Now, there might be a lot of judgments coming in, and remember what we said, we want to try and do this without the judgment. So you might have judgments, oh my goodness, look at the way I look. Oh my goodness, I don't like that. And oh my goodness, I don't like this. That's a natural thing that's going to come up. If that comes up for you, just let that go. We're not here to judge ourselves. We're here to observe ourselves as if we were outside our body looking in. So just do that. So first of all, we've located ourselves in the space that we're in. Kind of located ourselves, feeling ourselves in that position. And now we're kind of observing ourselves externally from the outside. Now, if we get any judgmental thoughts coming in, we just let them go. We don't fight them or try to distract yourself. We just understand that they're there and let it go. And now we want to shift that attention and come inside the body, looking out. So bring the attention inside, what's happening on the inside. What experiences are you having on the inside of your body? Maybe you're feeling certain sensations, body sensations in your head area or your shoulders, chest, back, hips area, legs, feet, arms. Just bring from the inside a little bit of attention on what's experiences you're having there. Maybe you're experiencing some sort of emotional thing inside. Just observe that, again, without any judgment. Without saying, oh my goodness, there's that horrible depressive feeling again. Or, oh my goodness, there's that horrible anxious feeling again. Let's not judge this. Let's just observe that, oh, I have a certain sensation in my body, without putting names to it at the moment, or without putting judgments, that's a good thing or a bad thing. It might be very joyous and pleasant. That's also, but let's not even put the name of joyous and pleasant on it. Let's just get used to recognizing experiences for what they are. Oh, I'm feeling an experience in my chest or in my heart or in my arms or in my jaw or wherever it is for you. We're just doing a learning process just now. Okay, we're just learning a skill. And that skill is being able to observe ourselves from the inside and from the outside. So now again, shifting our attention as if we were outside the body looking in. What's it like to see you sitting there or standing there or lying there? Just picture as if somebody else was looking at you, or maybe there's a camera on the ceiling or whatever, just observing you externally. Just bring your attention there to that external picture of yourself. Now, this is not necessarily an easy thing to do. What we're doing is we're having flexible attention from the outside in, attention from the inside out, attention from the outside in, attention from the inside out. What we're building here is flexibility. We're building psychological flexibility. We're building behavioral flexibility. We're trying to break up a little bit that rigidness that we have in our patterns of behavior. And we're using attention to do that. So just looking at ourselves from the outside and then shifting it to the inside. Moving our attention to the outside, looking in, and then back inside again. And just experience what that is. It might even be a little strange. But what you might start to do is start to really recognize that there are certain sensations going on in your body. If you want, you can put them in the comments. What are you experiencing about this? What do you experience when you're doing that? When you're looking from the outside in, What is your experiences of that? It might be difficult to do, it might be easy to do. If you want, share what your experiences are. And then observing yourself from inside, without judgment, just experiencing, just observing what's going on in the inside of you. And just write in the comments if you want what that is. This is called the observing self while we are selfing. And then I envision the shape that my skin is making. So my own shape. Whatever that shape is. Again, our thoughts can come in and possibly be judgmental here, saying, oh, I don't like that shape. I wish it was a different shape. Just let that go. And shift my awareness now to any physical sensations that I'm experiencing once again. And when I experience a physical sensation, I'm going to acknowledge it. And I'm going to make space for it. Be willing to have it. And then let it go. So sometimes I get a really horrible feeling in my stomach. So I acknowledge it. Oh, there, you're there again. Good morning. Good morning sensation in my stomach. Sometimes it's very unpleasant. And I acknowledge it. You're here again. But this time, instead of trying to get rid of it, oh, what can I take to get rid of that? Oh, I don't like that. That's the judgment. I don't do that anymore. I'm just saying, okay, I'm willing to have you with me. I'm willing to have this experience. The studies and research have shown that this is the best way at the moment to handle this. Not distracting ourselves, not running away from this, not taking things. We're talking about acknowledging, making space, and be willing to experience this. And then I just let it go. Letting it go means I'm willing to have it, I'm not fighting it. And I'll just shift my attention now to something else without distracting, just shifting my attention. So again, I envision the shape that my skin is, what's my body like, what's the shape. Bringing my awareness to any physical sensations in my body, acknowledging them. I'm willing to have them. And then I move on. And I can do something similar with my emotions. So I recognize them. Oh, these are my emotions of this moment. These are my emotions of the day as I am experiencing them. And I create space for them in my life. So I might have an emotion of sadness coming up. So instead of distracting myself and saying, oh, it'll be all right, or whatever, I just make space and say, this emotion is mine for just now. And I create space for it. Maybe my emotion is joy and happiness. And so I will also say, oh, this emotion is mine. And I'm creating space for that too. And you know what? Sometimes we can have both emotions together. Sometimes there's a little bit of sadness going on and a little bit of joy going on. Ever experienced that before? Maybe you're at a really joyous occasion like a wedding and everything is wonderful. And then comes in that memory of your old auntie who has passed away and would have loved to have been at this wedding. At that moment, we get a feeling of sadness in amongst all that joy. And so we just recognize that emotion as ours, and I create space for it. Say, oh, here we are. Welcome. And then I bring my attention back to my observing self. My observing self who looks at me from the outside and says, oh, here's Dov sitting here. Here's Dov talking. And my feelings and my thoughts, I recognize them as mine and that they're there, but I am separate from them. They are experiences that I am experiencing, but they are not me. I am something a little bit separate from these experiences. I'm something a little bit separate from my body, from my sensations, from my emotions, and from my thoughts. And so I recognize them as belonging to me, but I am separate from them. These are experiences that I am having. I recognize them as mine. I befriend them, even if you like. I make space for them and say, you know what, maybe I don't particularly like it. Maybe it's pretty uncomfortable that you're here. But you know what? I'll make space for you. You are mine. You are my experience. You are part of my life. The sadness, the frustration, the anger, the joy, the happiness. They're all my emotions. They're all my experiences. And so I will make space for you for as long as you need to be here. I'm not going to judge you as something bad or good. I'm just acknowledging that you're here with me right now. This is the experience, as if I'm outside and the weather might not be the weather that I want. I might want a cooler day and it's really hot. I might want a hotter day and it's really cold. Whatever it is, if I'm going to fight the weather, if I'm going to fight those clouds in the sky and say, I don't want you grey clouds, I want white clouds, then we can see what that would lead to. But if I say, okay, you know what? Today's a rainy day. Today's a sunny day. The weather is neither good nor bad. It just is what it is. I have no control over that weather. So I make space for the weather that it is. I put on clothes that are suitable for living in that weather, and I go about my daily business. Likewise with our thoughts and emotions, feelings and body sensations. We don't always have control over any of that. But we can make space and say, this is my experience for right now. It could change in 1 minute. It can change in a few hours. It can change in a couple of days. But they are my experiences. And I make space for them to experience and observe. So what we're talking about is mindful moments and actions. And we have a menu of things that we want to cover in these few days, which is that was mindful selfing. Mindful breathing is about bringing our attention to the breath, just breathing normally. We will do some more of that over the next couple of days. But first of all, just breathe normally, but pay attention to it. Breathe through your nose and out through your mouth. Just normally. You might find it an interesting experience when you start consciously paying attention to your breathing. It might be a different temperature between the outside air as it enters your nose, and you might be able to Pay attention to that change in temperature. That little sensation at the end of your nostrils. Just imagine that that breath is going up through your nose and into your lungs, filling your lungs with good fresh oxygen and air. Just notice how your chest moves, or your tummy moves, or your shoulders move when you're breathing. You're not wanting to do anything here. You're not wanting to do anything with your mind or your body. Just paying attention again. This is about flexible attention. Just paying attention to your breathing. Nothing fancy. But you will find that your mind might wander. And that's fine. That's the wandering and the bringing back. The wandering and the bringing back. That's the muscle that we're trying to strengthen. That's the flexible attention here. Your mind wanders and it comes back. A lot of people say, well, I can't do this stuff because my mind keeps wandering. Well, that's wonderful. That's part of your natural function of your brain. So it wanders. You can start thinking of all sorts of things, usually in the past or in the future. And then you bring it back to the present. And the present is your breathing right now. Right now. Just pay attention to that. And this selfing and mindful breathing, we can do a number of times in the day when we feel, I've got a few seconds, let's do a little bit of selfing here. Let's do a little bit of mindful breathing. And just see what that experience is like and what it does to your sensations. Maybe you'll feel something different. Maybe you'll think something different. Maybe you will experience something different as you practice this mindful selfing and practice this mindful breathing. And just slow everything down. And just feel that sense filling you. That experience, whatever it is, it might not be pleasant. It might be quite unpleasant, but it might be very pleasant. Whatever it is, just let it fill you for just now. We're not going to wallow in anything. We're not going to judge anything to be good or bad. We're going to go out about our daily business and do what we need to do, what we've planned to do, what we want to do. But just understanding that we've acknowledged our own minds and bodies.
Disclaimer, this show is not therapy, nor a replacement for therapy.
Should you wish to inquire about therapy, counseling, life, or executive coaching, please contact Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman at factcpfa@gmail.com.
factcpfa@gmail.com.
Dov Benyaacov-Kurtzman is a highly experienced psychotherapist,
Executive business coach,
and author of the book, Mind Over Terror, 3 weeks, 2 cities, 1 mission.
with over 10,000 hours of experience and academic degrees in government, law, clinical social work, and a postgraduate diploma in psychiatry with distinction.
Dov has the background to help you. He's also available for public speaking and corporate training.